Any fans of ironic humor out there? For whatever reason, I am a huge fan of ironic humor. It cracks me up more than your average Joe, for whatever reason. And it's kind of too bad, like, because when I tell somebody something that cracks me up and they just get a chuckle out of it, it always brings me down a bit. And that might be true of these two stories. I don't know. I can tell you one time, I say jokingly, the most rewarding moment I had as a pharmacist was when the store I was working at about 5 or 6 years ago, it had a drive-through, and it was along the side of the building. And we didn't, like, have a window to see the people. We just, you know, shot the stuff through the tube and shot it to them. And we'd watch them pull up along the side of the building on a monitor. Well, it was a very narrow lane, and this big SUV is coming up. It turned the bend fast. And it was trying to angle in, and it was going fast. I'm like, this thing's going to hit. It's going to hit the building. It's going to hit the building. Bang! Hits the building. Hits the side of the building. And you know, the car might have had a scrape on it. Didn't damage the building. But bang! I mean, we heard it go bang inside, you know, inside the pharmacy. And after he smacks the side of the building, he rings the bell to let us know he's there. Because, no, hitting the side of the building isn't going to let us know you're there. You got to ring the bell to make sure you know we're there. I don't know. That just to this day that just puts a smile on my face. The ridiculousness of that. Another one. This is a favorite of mine. A great weekend I had, not terribly long before I tied the knot, before I became an old married man. Me and my friends were in Washington, D.C. during the WWE, well, it was WWF back then, WWF's glory days in 2000, to see one of their post-WrestleMania pay-per-view, Backlash. Tremendous pay-per-view. And we went to an IHOP that morning, the Sunday morning. The service there was not bad. It was cartoonishly bad. You couldn't even get mad because it was literally funny. You know, we were getting our stuff, you know, our dishes piecemeal. The people behind us who were seated 15 minutes after us were getting all their stuff before we got any of our stuff. And I've mentioned Bernie. Bernie was a grade A knucklehead. This friend of a friend. Well, he was there with us, and he's not exactly the king of subtlety or anything, but he kept asking for his drink to be refilled. And they kept just, you know, forgetting, blowing him off, to the point that he walked into the kitchen. He walked into the kitchen where the staff was. He's clinking his glass, the ice around his glass. He's like, yeah, I asked to have this refilled twice, and no one's giving me it, so where's the fountain so I can refill it myself? And not taking the hint, the clueless waitress points to the drink fountain. It was ridiculous. So, you kind of see some of the style of humor that I'm into. So you could tell me whether or not it put a smile on my face when I got in my comment inbox the other day on the intro video about the Atheist Crocoduck. This guy who, I'm not going to actually show his info, I don't want to embarrass him. But it says, well, there's no need for a crocoduck when we have the duck-billed platypus. I thought I'd throw that out there. This video really wasn't about the pros and cons of evolution. But I guess, whatever. He took it as such, but then on the video called The Atheist Crocoduck, dedicated to stupid arguments against the Christian faith, what do I see? But I would like to hear a Christian explain how the Bible miraculously parallels the story of Horus. Nothing quite says irony like an Atheist Crocoduck on a video dedicated to Atheist Crocoducks. There's not much more I can say about this pagan parallel nonsense. that hasn't been said by Professor Wally Yamauchi, who was interviewed by Lee Strobel in the case for the real Jesus. This man is a professor of mystery religion literature, I believe, and he just absolutely ripped the whole pagan parallel crap to shreds. There's not much more I can say than what the guys at Tektonics have said about this Horus nonsense, and I'll put a link. I'll put a link to this particular page. But really, it's not. Here's the thing. It's not me as a Christian with a chip on my shoulder to disprove this stuff that's an attack on my faith or anything like that. And honestly, I'm at the point I'm not even going to be entertaining questions about it. I don't want to hear, well, but Justin Martyr said that. No. Because Yamauchi addresses Justin Martyr, Tektonics in general addresses so much of this nonsense. But it's not me as a Christian saying that this is idiotic crap. Not at all. Here's the blog for the Atheist Experience. And here is an email that Matt Dillahunty has been sending people who ask him about Zeitgeist. Now, Zeitgeist is probably one of the main movies that try to make Jesus be, a pagan the story of Jesus be a pagan parallel of all the mystery religion gods and goddesses. The first third of the film is an unscholarly, sophomoric, horribly flawed oversimplification that tries to portray Christianity as nothing more than the next incarnation of the astrologically themed religions that preceded it. Like all conspiracy theories, they combine a few facts, focus on correlations, and build an intriguing story that seems to fit the pieces together nicely, provided you actually don't dig beneath the surface to find out where they might have gone wrong. Moving on here. He says, and I love this, Zeitgeist is perhaps one of the most damaging films I've ever seen because people who don't exercise proper skepticism buy into a flawed story and then repeat it. They may convince other folks, and what we'll end up with are a bunch of people who reject Christianity, for example, for very bad reasons. And the minute they come face to face with someone who can defend Christianity from these easily dismissed claims, they're likely not to simply be convinced that they were wrong, but also be convinced that Christianity is therefore true. After all, we're talking about people who weren't bothered to investigate the truth in the first place. So, what Dillahunty is saying here is this kind of nonsense, trying to draw pagan parallels, is in fact bad for skepticism. Bad for atheism. Because he's saying that, you're gonna run into someone. If this is the reason why you say I'm not going to be a Christian, and you find someone who tears it apart, there's a chance that you might become a Christian. So really, I'd like to encourage as many people as possible to to buy into this pagan parallels nonsense. Let that be the reason why you're not a Christian, please. And then just read something from Tektonics or Lee Strobel's The Case for the Real Jesus, and once you read that, I'll see you at church.